The opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it's conformity. Mass communication, wonder as it may be technologically and something to be appreciated and valued, presents us with a serious danger, the danger of conformism, due to the fact that we all view the same things at the same time in all the cities of the country. It is dangerous to know, but it is more dangerous not to know. Rollo May grew up in a troubled household, which perhaps sowed the seeds of his interest in understanding human suffering. After graduating from Oberlin College in Ohio with a degree in English, he ventured to Greece to teach. It was during this time that he attended seminars by Alfred Adler, an experience that deeply influenced his later work. I became a psychotherapist because that's where people will unburden themselves, where they will show what is in their hearts. I'm just a collection of mirrors, reflecting what everyone else expects of me. Rollo May is often credited with introducing existential psychology to the United States. Unlike traditional Freudian psychoanalysis or behaviorism, May's approach was deeply humanistic and philosophical. He believed that anxiety, rather than being something to avoid, was central to human growth. Anxiety is an even better teacher than reality. It is a source of education always present because one carries it within. One of the few blessings of living in an age of anxiety is that we are forced to become aware of ourselves. May argued that anxiety arises when we confront the limits of our existence, but it also propels us toward courage and creativity. As he said, anxiety has a purpose. Originally, the purpose was to protect the existence of the caveman from wild beasts and savage neighbors. Nowadays, the occasions for anxiety are very different. We are afraid of losing out in the competition, feeling unwanted, isolated, and ostracized. But the purpose of anxiety is still to protect us from dangers that threaten the same things, our existence or values that we identify with our existence. This normal anxiety of life cannot be avoided, except at the price of apathy, or the numbing of one's sensibilities and imagination. The human being cannot live in a condition of emptiness for very long. If he is not growing toward something, he does not merely stagnate. The pent-up potentialities turn into morbidity and despair, and eventually into destructive activities. Courage is not the absence of despair, it is rather the capacity to move ahead in spite of despair. Depression is the inability to construct a future. Rollo May believed that human development is not just about growing physically or intellectually, but also about evolving in how we understand ourselves and the world. He proposed 5 stages that reflect the existential crises we face throughout life. Innocence, rebellion, decision, ordinary and creative. Ordinary. Innocence, the will to live as an infant. Rebellion, seeking freedom without responsibility. Decision, choosing independence as a young adult. Ordinary, conforming to societal norms in adulthood. Creative, achieving self-actualization through creativity. If you do not express your own original ideas, if you do not listen to your own being, you will have betrayed yourself. Courage is not a virtue or value among other personal values like love or fidelity. It is the foundations that underlies and gives reality to all other virtue and personal values. When we are dealing with human beings, no truth has reality by itself. It is always dependent upon the reality of the immediate relationship. When men at last accept the fact that they cannot successfully lie to themselves, and at last learn to take themselves seriously, they discover previously unknown and often remarkable recuperative powers within themselves. It is an ironic habit of human beings to run faster when they have lost their way. Many people suffer from the fear of finding oneself alone, and so they don't find themselves at all. In order to be open to creativity, one must have the capacity for constructive use of solitude. One must overcome the fear of being alone. Every human being must have a point at which he stands against the culture where he says, "This is me and the damned world can go to hell." The relationship between commitment and doubt is by no means an antagonistic one. Commitment is healthiest when it is not without doubt, but in spite of doubt. Recall how often in human history the saint and the rebel have been the same person. May's literary contributions are as impactful as his therapeutic practices. His books like The Meaning of Anxiety, Love and Will, and The Courage to Create delve into themes of creativity, love, and existential courage. Every act of genuine creativity means achieving a higher level of self-awareness and personal freedom. So what if imagination and art are not frosting at all, but the fountainhead of human experience? A myth is a way of making sense in a senseless world. Myths are narrative patterns that give significance to our existence. It is interesting to note how many of the great scientific discoveries begin as myths. Technology is the knack of so arranging the world that we do not experience it. But what happens when technology advances faster than our ability to find meaning? This is where Rollo May's existential concerns align with Nietzsche's vision of modern humanity. We in our age are faced with a strange paradox. Never before have we had so much information in bits and pieces flooded upon us by radio and television and satellite, yet never before have we had so little inner certainty about our own being. The more objective truth increases, the more our inner certitude decreases. Our fantastically increased technical power and each forward step in technology is experienced by many as a new push toward our possible annihilation. Nietzsche was strangely prophetic when he said, "We live in a period of atomic chaos. The terrible apparition, the nation-state, and the hunt for happiness will never be greater than when it must be caught between today and tomorrow. Because the day after tomorrow, all hunting time may have come to an end altogether." Rollo May passed away in 1994, but his legacy endures. His emphasis on individuality, courage, and creativity continues to inspire psychologists, artists, and thinkers worldwide. One does not become fully human painlessly. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and ideas of Rollo May. If his philosophy resonated with you or sparked new thoughts about your own existence, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more explorations into great minds.